Well, believe it or not, we actually have some good news coming out of the state auditor. I'm going to share this video with you, but basically this is in regards to the public records request. So right now in Massachusetts, if I were to try to dig into some kind of public records, they're not going to submit them. They're not going to give them to me. It just is not going to happen. I've been waiting over a year for the budget on White Stadium. That's a perfect example. And they kept beating around the bush. But let me show you what is happening and give you an update on this.
We were actually really pleased with the SJC's decision.
There's positive news on the legal front for State Auditor Diana Dizoglio in her pursuit for transparency and accountability. A formal ruling on the Senate's challenge to Dizoglio's ballot question to subject the legislature and governor's office to the public records law has been deferred, meaning the ballot question can move forward.
Which is good.
Any contextual legal challenge could only come after its law.
Nothing about the public records law interferes with the processes and procedures in the state legislature. It doesn't prevent them from being able to do their job. It just makes the records that are paid for by taxpayers actually accessible to taxpayers.
Exactly.
So I'm glad that the SJC had the wisdom to give the opinion that accessing public records in our state house is indeed and in fact constitutional.
Dizoglio's
the thing here, I'm going to pause this for a second. So she said that it's basically this public records law is in a position that it's not going to affect the way these people do their jobs. You have to think about the way these people are thinking about it. If they know that everything that they do is going to be accessible by the public, they're going to second guess what they are doing. That is exactly why, at least in my opinion, that is exactly why they don't want something like this coming out. Because we all know better than anybody else that we have, the most secretive legislature in the entire country. This is a very well-known thing. And the fact remains, when you have, your state government that doesn't want to provide the public on what they're spending the taxpayers' money on, whether it be contracts, whether it be bids, whatever it is, right? You got to think to yourself, anybody in the right state of mind is going to think to themselves, something is going on here. What do they have to hide? And that's exactly why they don't want something like this going through. They would rather operate in the shadows. That's why it's a threat to them. And I think it's a good thing. I think any single time that you are able to put a microscope on something and look at something, and then, whether the public or the news or the media has the ability to scrutinize something, what ends up happening is if a lot of people get on board with that and they see a problem, then guess what? It becomes a problem. A perfect example of this is what happened with the MassDOT contracts between Apple Green and Global Partners. That ended up blowing up. Imagine if we didn't have access or knew what the hell was going on there. The only reason that we did is because the bids were public. If those bids were not public, which they normally are, but if they were not public bids, like the Apple Green would have been, flying in the riding a boat in the sunset. That's what would have happened, and the taxpayers would have been out nearly $1 billion. So the more scrutiny that you could put these legislators through, or the people that they're awarding these contracts to, it is only a net benefit for the taxpayers. Who it's not a net benefit for are corrupt legislators. Now, some legislators obviously might be on board with this. That's 100% true. But the ones that are operating again in the shadows and want to remain in the shadows, well, guess what? They're going to be the ones that are the loudest, and they're going to be the ones that are most upset.
says the opinion issued by the SJC could help in the argument for the audit.
What the Senate wanted the SJC to do is the Senate wanted the SJC to say that maybe in the future, in some hypothetical set of circumstances, somebody could request something that is not a matter of public record and that would be constitutionally prohibited. But the SJC shot back, in my opinion, and said, well, respectfully, they cannot give an opinion on something that hasn't happened and on hypothetical questions.
Exactly.
I thought that that was good for the people. It was good for transparency. And I actually think it's good for our argument with respect to the audit of the legislature as well, because that's what the Attorney General has actually been saying to our office. She's been trying to say what the Senate tried to say, which is that unless we can answer her hypothetical questions about some potential future audit that doesn't exist right now, that she's not going to allow us to do the current audit. And that's just ridiculous. We can't answer hypothetical questions about what some future auditor in the future, who's not me, might decide to audit at a later date. Hypotheticals are not what the court rules on. Hypotheticals are not what the court gives opinions on. And I was really glad to see that they made that clear to the state Senate.
The auditor.
Could you imagine a world where they are trying to, pigeonhole people or do this level of gatekeeping where they're trying to predict, they're basically trying to predict something in the highest court of Massachusetts to stop a law that might or possibly or hypothetically or a maybe or a sometimes under an imaginary future scenario be used against them. That's what's going on here. That is what is going on here. They will do everything in their power to try to protect each other. This is what I've been saying. And guess what happened? The court said, we don't rule on fiction. The only thing that the court probably doesn't realize, which I think is ironic, is the Massachusetts legislature has been writing fiction in their budget for years. They operate on fiction. They operate on priorities that do not benefit all of the taxpayers, that only benefit some of the taxpayers. Do you see what I'm saying? So they want to set up as many roadblocks, even if they are hypothetical roadblocks for the future, so that people can't see what the hell is actually going on. So this is a big win, guys.
And Attorney General will be before the SJC on May 6th.
That's right.
To hear arguments on whether or not Dizoglio has a right to representation in the legal battle over the audit.
Hey, Madam AG, why did you choose to represent the Speaker and the Senate President as opposed to the 72%?
Yeah.
The Attorney General has chosen to represent the House Speaker and Senate President.
We're going to stay vigilant and pushing forward with the matter of the audit of the legislature, and we hope that the courts side with the voters on this and uphold the public interest.
That's the thing. So
Fiscal Alliance Foundation.
Fiscal Alliance Foundation is great. They actually they put out a lot of really good reports. But ultimately, what I think is happening here is that I think the auditor is going to have a pretty fair shot. I really do. In not only in regards to the audit. Obviously, I got the sweatshirt on, but you know what I'll do too? I'll share my screen one more time. I'll show you where I got the sweatshirts. People have been asking me in the comment section. I'm just going to show you. But I just want to give you my opinion on this. There are two things happening at the same time. We have the audit that obviously we know how many people voted for, the majority of the state really. And then we have the public records laws. Both of these things would result in better government. They would result in better government for the people. Without these things, it's better government for the insiders, for the people getting no big contracts, for the people that are getting paid under the table, for these, lawmakers that want to operate in the shadows. They want to continue to operate in the shadows, but I think they're missing the bigger picture here. Here's my honest to God opinion on both the audit and on both the public records laws. If there is some chaos, meaning, I find something, Mass Fiscal finds something, the Herald, the Globe, whatever, if both of these things become law and, there's people that get in trouble or whatever happens, it's only for the greater good. You know what I'm saying? Like the friction point in the pain, they don't want to go through the friction point in the pain to get to some level of transparency where everything is working like a well-oiled machine. They would rather to continue to operate, this is my opinion, of course, but they would rather continue to operate in the shadows, not let the public know what is going on or how their tax dollars are being spent. That is in their, at least right now, direct benefit, which leads me to believe, and I'm sure you probably think the same damn thing, like what the hell is going on? What are they doing with our tax dollars? They clearly don't want us knowing what is going on with our tax dollars in terms of a forensic audit or in terms of, public records on no big contracts and so on and so forth. They don't want you to know that. But honestly, my call to this, and this is what I would say to legislatures, is like, if there's problems or there's issues, people will be upset temporarily, of course, about the issues that have happened. Again, whether it's wasteful spending, again, whether it's no big contracts to political donors, whatever the hell it is, people will be upset for a fraction of time. They will be. Maybe it'll be a month, maybe it'll be a week, maybe it'll be a year. But the end game result is going to be a net positive for both the taxpayers and for the legislature. That would be the end game result. So if there's some pain or there's some friction or there's some chaos to get to a point where everything is transparent, we know where our money is going to, and guess what? The legislature could take some public criticism, which we all know that they do not like to do. They want to go on blue sky, the safe space, right? The reservation, and not hear from their own constituents. Well, the fact remains that would be better for the greater good. I don't know how anybody could see this any other way. I also don't know what the other 28% of people were thinking about not voting for an audit. I really don't know. I cannot understand how you wouldn't want to know the inner workings of what is happening, because there is a lot of things happening here in Massachusetts. We don't need to talk about them all today, but it is very, very obvious that something shady is going on. So tomorrow, I may even try to live stream that. I don't know if YouTube is going to like that, to be honest with you. If I'm live streaming a live stream, we'll see if it works or not. I don't want to get a strike on my account, but anyway, in regards to these shirts, so I think the website is the 72%, like the 72%.com or .net or .org. That is where these shirts are coming from. These sweatshirts are coming from. Again, I've been wearing them all over the place in support of this. And believe it or not, I've had so many people come up to me. All have been positive. People that don't even know me. And they said, that we love the sweatshirt. Where'd you get the sweatshirt? So, more people are on board with this. And the fact remains, when you have these ballot questions or these ballot initiatives that are, they're basically the voice of the public, when the voice of the public and the public itself basically gets stomped on and they are not respected by the legislators, what are we doing? That is the main core fact and the main core issue here. That is what is going on. And again, they want to set up more roadblocks. They want to do all of the gatekeeping, and they want us to follow the hypothetical laws that they've created. It should not be that way. These people should be answering, meaning the legislators should be answering to their constituents. We are the ones that pay their salary. They should work for us. We should not be working for them. And that's how it's been for a very long time here. So overall, if I could live stream it tomorrow, I think it's at 9 in the morning, if I'm not mistaken, I'll try to do that. I have to see what I have to do that. And I just don't want to get in trouble live streaming it on YouTube, but we will give it a shot because I'm very interested to see what happens. So tomorrow, Wednesday, May 6th, I believe at 9 a.m. is a very, very big day. It is a very, very big day. I'm sure the auditor is getting prepared for it, doing her thing, and I wish her the best of luck. It would be great if you guys did the same thing as well. So that's it, guys. I know a few videos today, but I had the time. Bye-bye.